Hello, and welcome to an episode of Todd Talks, and Todd Talks people listen, hopefully. So today we have a death battle preview for the upcoming episode, which is Batgirl versus Spider-Gwen. Now, like many of you, I am not exactly happy with the matchup because we've done the Bat and Spider thing a lot. We've had Batman versus Spider-Man, we've had Batman Beyond versus Spider-Man 2099, and of course we have Batgirl versus Spider-Gwen. I mean, come on, let's do something different. Let's just have something else. I mean, what's next? Silk versus Cassandra Cain, Batwoman versus Spider-Woman. Oh, yeah. Let's not give them any ideas. But yes, the good thing that I am happy about is that the Death Battle cast last week confirmed that this episode is going to be in the Source Engine. So like we had with Ganon, Dracula, and Kakashi and Obi-Wan. So this will be a visually stunning fight and the first time we've seen any Bat character or Spider character in 3D. So this should be good. Now, let's get started off with Batgirl. So from basically her young life, whatever, Barbara was always supposed to be a hero because she was the daughter of Commissioner James Gordon of the GCPD. And like a good father, he taught her martial arts to defend herself, and she had an already incredible brain that allowed her to be a wizard with computers and other technology. And as a result of that, she was gonna do something big with her life. But then she saw the Batman in action, and she realized that she wanted to be like him. So she made her own costume, and she went and saved the day from Killer Moth of all people. And after impressing Batman, he inducted her officially into the Bat family as Batgirl. And this led to many adventures, both in the family and separately, and of course led to many major connections in her life, including the on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again relationship with Dick Grayson. Yes, the infinite when will they ever get married relationship in comics. But we're going to put that to the side and talk about her time as Batgirl. As Batgirl, she is easily one of the best fighters in the DCU. Not just because she was trained by Batman, but because one of her best friends ever is Black Canary, who, as Death Battle established earlier this season, is without a doubt one of the best fighters in the DCU. And Batgirl has gone toe to toe with Black Canary, both in training and technically in a fight once. New 52, it's complicated, and held her own. So I would say she's definitely on par with her. Now, also, like Batman, she has a variety of gadgets, whether it be her suit, which can survive flamethrowers, explosions, large impacts. She has multiple gadgets, of course, her batarangs. She has thermal sensors and smoke pellets, and basically the entire Batman arsenal that you can expect. And as a result of this, she was a capable crime fighter, a major member of the Bat family. And then the killing joke happened, and she got shot, and she became paralyzed from the waist down. And this led to a major shift in her life to where she became Oracle. Now, Oracle, and actually in many people's mind, is the best version of Barbara Gordon, where she used her mind and her technology skills to basically become the biggest information broker on the planet, be able to hack into everything, and she actually controlled satellites in space while Lex Luthor was president. Long story. And she became the top go-to person for information, for help, for eyes on everything. And it was actually during this time as Oracle that she created the Birds of Prey, alongside, of course, Dinah Lance. And so she had a capable career as Batgirl, or sorry, as Oracle, and in fact that lasted up until the New 52, which, for the record, Killing Joke was 1989. New 52 was about 2011, 2012. So they kept her as Oracle for a long time, and something that you honestly don't see a lot in comics anymore. But with her time as Oracle, she not just expanded her skills, but she expanded her mental capability. She has perfect memory. She has the ability to look at a situation analytically and honestly decipher faster than Batman, which is not something you could say about everybody outside of Superman. Maybe Wonder Woman. Moving on. And she became just this incredibly mentally talented woman. And as Blackest Night would show us, she actually still trained her body physically so that should she get into a physical tussle, she could handle herself, which she did multiple times. And but even just mentally, she beat the Calculator, who was one of the greatest hackers in the DC universe. She expelled Brainiac from her body, and yeah, she proved herself more times than many people would want to admit. But and then in the New 52, she was able to finally get over her injuries. I think it was because of a spinal implant. I don't remember. But then she donned the cape and cowl once again and became Batgirl. And then she wasn't Batgirl, and she was the Batgirl of Burnside. Now she's Batgirl again. It's welcome to comics, everybody. Now, in terms of who she's fought a lot. I mean, this is the Bat family we're talking about. All right, she at one point in time she fought the metahuman guards of Penguin and beat them. She, I guess it meant went up against Black Canary, who is a metahuman. She has fought Savant, who we're going to see in the upcoming Suicide Squad movie, the Suicide Squad movie, who's also a very capable fighter. She's fought multiple goons. She's fought assassins. She's fought ninjas. She's multiple times dodged bullets. She had a very long rivalry with the Mirror, ventriloquist, ragdoll. One of the versions. There's multiple versions of both of them. And let's see. She's fought Huntress, but that was difficult because technically Huntress wasn't fighting back at that time. She's of course fought the Bat family, obviously, because there's always infighting in the Bat family, and she's honestly had to do a lot. And whether it be through her solo career or with the Bat family, she's endured a lot. Like I said, she's taken flamethrowers square on. She's taken explosions. And as the Death Battle preview noted, Batman survived an explosion that threw him many hundreds of feet back, and he was fine. So Batgirl can do the same. Uh, she's done a lot. Now, if there is a weakness of Barbara's, she can sometimes get in her own way, and she sometimes battles with she does battle with depression still because of what happened with the Joker and her relationships. Oh my gosh, whether it be Dick Grayson or the very odd thing she had with Jason Todd, no relation, and she's not the best emotionally when it comes to relationships, and that's why we have the on again off again with Dick Grayson. Um, she also isn't afraid to tell like it is to Batman, which at times is fine, but other times it comes off as a bit petty. Including one time where she was Batgirl, but she wouldn't wear the bat symbol, and he called her out on that. It's like, how can you say you're Batgirl if you don't wear the mark of the family? So she does get in her way or her own way at times, but those are very rare. Barbara is a very composed and very intelligent and very capable and very strong character, and there's a reason why so many people love Batgirl, and so you better watch out. She'll take you down. So moving on to Spider-Gwen, we have to enter the multiverse once again. Except this time we are going to Earth 65, where Gwen Stacy is the daughter of the police chief. Wink. Uh, uh, Captain Stacy, and I guess it's police chief, captain, whatever. So her father is with the police, but she herself is a free spirit. She's artistic. She plays drums in the band called the Mary Janes. Get the reference, I beg you. And actually, there's multiple references there, but anyway. And one day, yes, she is indeed bitten by a radioactive spider and turned into Spider-Gwen, or technically Spider-Woman, but Spider-Gwen is technically the fan name, but it sticks. It sticks, okay? And but unlike a certain Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, actually I take that back. I actually like the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man at first. She too did not want to use her powers for good. Rather, she wanted to just gain fame and keep it that way. And she was more than fine with that. But unfortunately for her, outside of her father's disapproval, she unintentionally inspired her best friend ever, Peter Parker, to go and experiment on himself to try and gain the power so that he could finally stop being bullied I sympathize. But this unintentionally turned him into the Earth 65 version of the Lizard. Yeah. And after crashing their prom, uh, Gwen had to fight Peter, and even though she won the fight, the injuries that were dealt to him transferred to when he reverted back from the Lizard, and as a result, he died. And this cast Spider-Gwen as an outlaw because she murdered him in the eyes of the media and the public. What was to follow was a long journey of redemption and to try and be better and to be the superhero that both her father and Peter both wanted her to be and felt that she should be. And sure enough, she did. She was a uh, key ally in the Into the Spider-Verse storyline, not the movie, the storyline by Dan Slott, and as well as multiple other multiversal adventures. She, of course, had to deal with her own problems on Earth 65 because since it's the multiverse, not everything is the same. And in this case, Matt Murdock is actually a corrupt lawyer who is the head of the Hand. Frank Castle is a police officer with an excessive force streak. Vulture is an assassin. That one's not too different, I suppose. And so on and so forth. Oh, and she also has the symbiote, the Venom symbiote. So she's Gwenom at times. It's complicated. But Spider-Gwen has basically all the abilities of the Spider family. She is documented as being able to lift 10 tons, but you could probably say she could lift more. But let's just use that as a baseline. Her speed and agility are technically better than Peter Parker's because of her frame. Uh, and it's actually shown that she can go faster than him in certain comic panels. She does have the web shooters. However, and I had to look this up, her web shooters made by tech billionaire Janet Van Dyne. Sorry, I got a notification. Her web shooters actually use the moisture around her so that she never runs out of webs. Yeah, so unlike Peter and technically Miles, she'll never run out of webs. As long as she's not in a dry area, the moisture around her will convert into the webs she needs to shoot. So she's got unlimited web shooting, which is actually pretty cool. So, and then of course she's got the standard super speed, super agility, etc., etc. So she can dodge bullets. She's dodged laser weapons, and so on. Now, key thing here is that her fighting style, much like an early Peter Parker, is completely freestyle. All right. It's even noted that the moves she did learn was from kung fu movies. Now, Peter Parker, our Peter Parker, he eventually trained with Captain America and Shang-Chi, and even developed his own fighting style called the Way of the Spider. Now, Gwen or Gwenom did not. So her fighting skills are incredibly basic, and yet because of her super speed and her spider senses, she makes up for it, and technically is one of the best fighters in the MCU. So it just goes to show that sometimes you don't have to learn all the things, you just have to know enough. Now, as noted, she has fought multiple people over her time. She has fought against Frank Castle. She even slammed him into a cab. She's fought Matt Murdock and the Hand Assassin. She's fought the Vulture multiple times. She's had to fight Captain America, the Earth 65 Captain America. She's fought alongside the other Spider Warriors to go up against the Hounds and what was it? Not Magus, that was someone else. Basically, all the multiversal Spider threats, she's had to go up against them, and she's even fought some other Spider-Man at times. It's a lot, and the Spider roster of bad guys is always really good, so and very powerful. She actually punched the Earth 65 version of Rhino through a wall, so that was pretty cool. But if there is a flaw with Spider-Gwen, it's honestly two things. One is experience. While she has been fighting for a well enough amount of time, she definitely doesn't have the experience or the depth in comics to showcase all of her abilities. She's technically only been around. Let's see, when was Into the Spider-Verse, the comic storyline. Okay, I'll just ballpark it. She's been around less than 10 years. All right. And so the amount of comics about her and the various stories that feature her are a little limited, but she has made up for it in other ways, including the Into the Spider-Verse stories. She was with the Champions at one point in time. Uh, she had a long relationship with Miles Morales at one point before they broke it off, because of course they did, because you can't have a nice relationship in the Spider-Verse. Ugh. And so on and so forth. She even has a multiversal watch that'll allow her to go from her home dimension into the 616 universe. And then after being exiled by Sue Storm, now she's definitively in the 616 universe. So hey, we got Spider-Gwen with us. Or I'm sorry, Ghost Spider. Because death follows her. Ugh. Which brings me to the second problem. She's not always mentally there. Um Aside from her feelings about what's happened to her in her life, and it's a lot. I honestly glazed over a lot of it. The big thing here is that Spider Gwen constantly and consistently goes either over the edge or is willing to go over the edge to get a victory or get revenge on something. Like one of the reasons she used the Venom symbiote was because she wanted revenge for what was going on with her father, who was being to a coma at the time. And when she was denied it, she like raged against the machine, and she was willing to make deals with people to get her powers back. At one point in time, she lost her natural Spider-Gwen powers, but she got back because of the Venom symbiote. And she made a deal with Matt Murdock, who again is corrupt and the head of the Hand in 65. And she was willing to do it because he had the ability to give her serums that would allow her to maintain her powers. So that's how far she was willing to go to still be Spider-Gwen. Now, yeah, she eventually betrayed the deal and blah blah blah, but yeah, she's not exactly she's not exactly all there all the time. And while she does accept responsibility for her actions, for example, after being put on trial, she was sentenced to spending a year in Shield prison, and she did that. The fact that she was still willing to say, "Oh yeah, I accept what I did. Now I'm going to move on," isn't exactly the best superhero kind of thing, don't you think? All right, so who wins between Batgirl and Spider-Gwen? This one, I don't think you understand how close this thing is, because when I heard this matchup, I was like, what does I couldn't remember if Spider Gwen had a spider sense, and she does. The problem though is that her spider sense is a bit finicky at times. She's documented as having trouble at time with the spider sense, even going so far apparently as it having to work 50-50 at best. And she's even noted in certain panels that she's like, I don't know why my spider sense is so sluggish. So that's something to think about. But then again, since this is Death Battle, we're going to be talking about peak Spider Gwen, might not have to worry about that. The other big thing here is experience. While Spider Gwen does have all of these abilities and everything, if you read her backstory and all the arcs she's been in, she's lost quite a bit. All right, like in some of her first fights, she lost to Vulture, pretty badly. She lost in Captain America once. She had to have help beating Doctor Octopus by our Miles Morales and Peter Parker. Um, she's been tricked by Matt Murdock multiple times. She's when she was Gwenom, Frank Castle, who again was a cop with an excessive force streak, was able to beat her easily with Sonic Baton, because again sound hurts a symbiote. And she does win, and she has the ability to win, but it's not as definitive as you would think, you know. Whereas Batgirl, is extremely capable, and you have to do something really big to defeat her. And so that's a big thing. Also, as I noted, Spider Gwen's fighting technique is more freestyle and what I see on television and movies versus Batgirl, who was trained, in, let's say it was judo, karate, and then of course training with Batman. The gadgets are tricky because you know that Batgirl's gonna get the full arsenal of gadgets, and that's totally fine. But will that matter against Spider-Gwen? Probably not, especially because the spider sense. The spider sense is the big thing here. And as stated earlier, her web shooters are infinite as long as she's not in a dry area. And as good as Barbara is, there's no reason to suspect that she'll figure out that the web shooters are dependent on, the moisture in the air. And if she did, what would she have to counter that? An explosion could work, but then all Gwen would have to do is just go to either a place where the heat doesn't burn the moisture in the air, and then she's fine. So, which she could totally do because of her, wall sticking and everything. So, the it's honestly kind of tricky because Barbara totally has advantages. All right, Barbara is better trained fighter. I would argue that she has a much better analytical mind. Gwen has it. Gwen, of course, again, is also the daughter of a detective, and she has her own detective abilities, but they're not as sharp as Barbara's. Not, I would say like there's a definite gap there. And given enough time, Barbara could easily figure out how to beat Spider-Gwen. I don't think that's much of an issue. But but would it happen in a quick enough amount of time? That's the question. And I think the answer here is no. And trust me, for a while, I honestly thought Batgirl was going to win this because remember, as a member of the Bat family, their lives are dependent on them beating the people who are better than them, whether it be the superpowers, the aliens, or whatever, cosmic beings and whatnot. They have to be as good as possible to go and defeat them. And Batgirl totally is. In the recent comic, The Three Jokers, they showed that she could run so fast that she broke a treadmill. Okay, she's no slouch, and her own strength is enough to break bones and put people through walls. She's broken, tools with her hands and whatever. She's strong, but not 10 tons strong. All right. No, not even Batman can do that. I mean, Batman can't even do 1 ton. That's 2,000 pounds. He's at most done 1,000, I think. That's not including like the armored bat suits. So this is closer than I think people want to admit because Barbara's skills and fighting style and her gadgets will easily put Spider-Gwen on edge. But even if her spider sense works only 50% of the time, that's still pretty good. And all she needs is one clear shot, pin Barbara to the wall or floor or whatever, and then just wail on her because her face is exposed. So, and even the armor probably can't take 10 tons of hits, or even if it can, the face can't. And so reluctantly, I want to pick Batgirl. I want to pick Batgirl here. I think she honestly could win in certain situations. But as Death Battle likes to note, this isn't about, one lucky victory. It's about who wins most of the time. And between her agility, her speed, her spider senses, her unlimited webbing, her freestyle battle technique, which I think will kind of contradict what Batgirl has with her more traditional fighting styles, I have to pick Spider-Gwen to win this death battle. Hate me in the comments, I dare you. Before I wrap up, I want to remind you all once again that I have a Kickstarter going on for my latest comic, Tokyo Blade Detectives. We have already reached our funding goal, and we are almost to $1,300 raised. So I appreciate those of you who have supported me. I have a link below in the top comment. If you are into comics, if you're into anime, if you just like Japanese stuff, please go check it out. I have rewards where you can get drawn into the comic. You can get all the comics I've ever made, including all of Tokyo Blade Detectives. You can have your name in a thank you section and so on and so forth. I would really appreciate your support. I'm trying to get to 100 backers. We're at 75 right now with about 2 weeks to go at the time of this recording. So if you can help me, I'd be most grateful. And for all of you who have watched my Sly Cooper, Rocket Raccoon, Death Battle Pitch / music video, uh, thank you. We've reached over 100 viewers, which made me really, really happy. And if you haven't seen it yet, I'll drop that in the link in the first comment as well. So with that, I'm in this episode of Todd Talk. Let me know who you think is going to win between Batgirl and Spider-Gwen, and how epic is this fight going to be in the Source Engine. I'm really looking forward to this, no lie. So yeah, let me know in the comments below. So I thank you for watching. If you made this far, I know you were listening, and I'll see you around.